For the Jewish community, there's a myth that needs to be dispelled, which is that this particular, malady, this particular illness doesn't affect us in the numbers that it does other groups.
Mhm.
And that's just not the case. And it
Yeah.
keeps people in shame and stigma and silence.
Mhm.
I think it was fear and ignorance. It's a scary thing to have a child who descends into addiction, the behaviors and everything that goes along with it.
Mhm.
And I think that people in our community were like, wanting to point fingers at our family unfairly, based on nothing. I mean, there are no perfect families, but we were a very, very functional, loving, present family.
Yeah.
To say, oh, there must be something that they did terribly wrong, that we're not going to do. So this isn't going to happen to us.
Hmm.
And then they just don't know how to respond. And that's really part of Jan's, big part of Jan's mission is not only helping people who are already in this space, individuals and families who are affected by substance use disorder, alcohol use disorder, but teaching communities, members to be empathetic and to know how to handle, supporting families like ours. I can give you one really chilling example of the stigma that we felt. We ended up sending our son away out of state for treatment. He was a minor and we were able to do that. And I firmly believe that we saved his life by doing that. Of course, that got around the community like wildfire, right? And a little while after we sent him for treatment, my best friend and I showed up to the Israel Fair in our community, and the person that was registering people I would say that she was not a close friend, but she was way more than an acquaintance. Our kids were in the same bar mitzvah class. They went to Jewish camp together. We had eaten at each other's Shabbat tables. So just as the context, she could not pick up her head to look at me.
Wow.
I mean, and it was really obvious why, and it was really pronounced. And I left with my friend and I came home and sobbed. So that's part of, that's just one example.
So I imagine that hopefully, now I don't know, but hopefully these things have, I don't know, become better, or communities have hopefully been able to deal with this a little bit better in the last decade and a half. Now I don't know. But I imagine it's still a widespread issue, right? Of communities not knowing how to deal or otherwise handle such situations.
Yeah. Yes, it is still widespread. I would say that progress has been made. I like to think that Jan has been a part of that progress. And other organizations that are in the space. But there's still a lot of work to be done, and it's very sporadic. So some communities, seem to, really be addressing it. Other communities know they should be and want help to address it. And then there are communities that just don't want to deal with it, just want to stick their head in the sand.
Because it's easier. It's easier just stick one's head in the sand, right?
Yeah, especially if it's a difficult issue that's complex. I would say that I still talk to families who feel disenfranchised from their communities over this issue. Also will tell you that we became unaffiliated over this for 4 years. That's how pronounced it was back then.